All right, guys, changing plans. It's going to take a little while for EVE Online to finish its whatever it's doing. Sorry about that. So, we are going to stream some more modeling techniques and things like that. How does that sound? I know you guys are curious to see how some of this stuff is done, so I'll be giving away a few of the secrets. Sorry, I had to adjust the mic there for a minute. All right, guys, as you can see from the previous video that I uploaded, I've been working on this dress, and you'll notice the model I'm using now to fit this to is a different model. You notice she's got hair and all that kind of stuff and a little bit of clothing. Oops, nipple slip. Anyway, as I explained before, these models are anatomically correct, and it is unavoidable. Sometimes you are going to see body parts. I apologize for that. I will try to keep that from happening as much as possible, but there are times that it will be inevitable. Please do not act like a child. This is not that kind of channel. All right, guys. So, what I've been doing here, you've noticed I've been subdividing this plane, which is all this is. This is just a plane with a cloth modifier applied to it, as well as the mirror tool for sculpting. Now, basically, the idea is you come in here and you use your model. Generally, you start with a base, and you want to start with the base that everybody is using. And the reason for that is generally those bases, anything you make that'll fit those bases will fit any 90% of the other avatars out there, because a lot of them are based on the very same base that I use to build my outfits and accessories with. So it shouldn't be a problem, but one thing we should always do as artists and modelers and things like that is test our work on other things. Hey guys, I just noticed there's no music going. I'm sorry. Let's try and get that going. All right. Anyway, what you want to do, the reason this is on a different model now is for exactly that purpose, to test and make sure it works right with good general 90% of all the other avatars out there, and it will as long as you use the right base. So anyway, you'll notice that thing is subdivided all crazy like, but the reason for that, if we come over here to the rendering, animation, I'm sorry. Like I said, I've been working on this for a couple of days now. You'll see that when we press the play button, and it takes a minute to calculate all this stuff, even using a GTX 1060, guys. So the thing is, the number of subdivisions you have in your plane, and the longer it's going to take, because what it's doing is it's calculating for each and every point that you create to solve it for the cloth modifier. So we give it a minute. It's going to take a minute for it to do all this. But you'll see it start to move towards her, and it'll start to deform, and then eventually it'll start shrinking around her and be more form-fitting with the more subdivisions. So we'll let that render for a minute. Now, this system I'm on is no slouch, guys. It is a Intel i7 7th generation 8-core processor, 32 gigs of DDR3, I believe it is, or it might be the weird Intel memory that goes along with that chip. It's got a 512 megabyte solid state hard drive. It's got big old secondary drives, a NVIDIA GTX 1060 in it, and see, there we go. Now it's starting to calculate. It usually does that within a few frames. Once it gets the first few figured out, then it goes from there, and it won't take you long for it to do it, but it does take some time for it to calculate. You see what I mean about all the points being calculated. Down this next pass, it's closer and closer. It gets closer, and it works itself out. Now, the trick to what we're waiting for here is when the dress looks pretty form-fitting and you're happy with it, which that's getting pretty close, but still not there. And we're only 7 frames into it, so that's doing a pretty good calculation job. But like I said, the more polygons you create, the longer it will take to calculate for all of them. And I mean, it wouldn't matter if I had 8 GTX 4090 or RTX 4090s. I mean, granted, it'd be a lot faster than a GTX 1060, but it would still, the more polygons you have, the more, it grows exponentially. So that's the reason. If I was trying to do this with a budget-based computer, it would take all night to render 10 frames. But considering we're, I don't know, about 7 minutes into the render and we're already at 10 frames, that's still significantly faster, but it's still going to take a minute. And as I said, sorry about any body parts you might see, but like I said, we're all adults here, so no funny business, please. Now, you'll see the further we get into it, the more it smooths it out, and it's really starting to look like cloth now. Starting to form to her body more. Everything's shrinking and going into place like it's supposed to. The main trick to doing things like this is you have to kind of think of the outfit that you're making, how it would look if you took it, cut it in half, and laid it out flat. What would that look like? Then you just put your model in there and you do your, you build your plane, or you bring in your plane, and then you start extruding it around using the model as a template to get your shapes right and everything like that. Now, that sounds easier than it really is, guys. Trust me. There's a reason people take years and years and years to study this stuff, because some things, a lot of the time, it's just a lot of repetition and, doing something over and over and over again until it just kind of drills into your brain and you don't have to think about it anymore. But Blender is one. If you've never used Blender before, it's a little weird if you're used to like 3D Studio Max and Maya and oh my goodness, here's one I haven't heard in a while, Lightwave. That was created by George Lucas, by the way, for Star Wars. And even Wings 3D. If you're used to any of those programs, Blender, it's definitely different. But once you get used to it, it's actually not that bad. It just takes a little getting used to. But as you can see, as this progresses, we're starting to get a little curling down here, but that's okay. That'll go away in the next couple of frames. That's just the sway from the gravity. What we're most interested in right now is the way right in here is starting to crease and form to her body. These areas around, shall we say, the more curvy parts of a body for a female can be quite tricky. And believe it or not, you would think these are the hardest parts, but no, actually underneath the arm and right here around the hip area is one of the most difficult places on a female avatar to get correct. So, there's that for you guys. What the heck, man? Oops, see now, whoops. Now the thing is, we've got a little bit of slippage because I need to make an adjustment there to keep that from happening. But, for an example, if I wanted to use this dress, don't worry, it's not dying. It just takes a minute to stop the render. Alright. See guys, even on a big beefy system, this stuff can be can still take a while. Alright, there we go. Now you notice, yes, there's some slippage. Oh my goodness, it's a boob. If you've never seen one of those before in your life, I'm sorry for you. But you'll see here, now, if I wanted to keep this dress, let's say I decided that frame right there looks good. Now remember, this is just in the first stage. This isn't in sculpting or anything like that yet. This is just the general design and how I want it to form to the avatar's body. Now, in a later video or stream, we will get to the UV mapping and all that kind of stuff. But for now, we're just on step 1 with this. And I've been working on this, I think, for 4 days. So as you can see, it can be a very time-consuming process to get everything right. But anyway, say I wanted to keep that, okay, that looks good enough for me. What we would do is come over here to your, let me see if I can get this right here. You go to your modifiers tab, and in here, this little drop down here, you see where it says apply. Once you apply that, that will keep that frame as the default frame in the cloth modifier. So it will play from that frame, and then you can recalculate the rest out. However, you can also set it up to where you don't have any cloth or any of that on it. But what's the point of doing that? Then it just kind of looks like it does at the start. But anyway, that's what you do is you would apply the collision, then the cloth, and then you apply the mirror. And then after that, once you get that applied and you're happy with the way it looks, you would come over here to sculpting, and that's where you do the finishing. And again, that takes a minute because you're dealing with real-time rendering. Even on a CUDA-enabled system, it still does take a minute. Sometime today. And this is probably because, yeah, it's calculating for this frame right here. So when it comes up, there it is. Now, you'll notice here, this is what it looks like at the current frame. Now, if this is how we wanted it, we would just come in here and let's see. There's a whole variety of tools in here you can use. There it is. Here's the smooth tool. And what you do, is you just, it's a little bit of a pain. But you come in here, you do all this kind of stuff. And I haven't really adjusted the tool any or anything like that. So let's look at the tool's properties. Okay, over here, hardness, radius, and the strength. This is what you play with to move it out to varying degrees. And this also is a process that, because of the number of polygons, you notice how it is smoothing it out, but little bitty bits at a time. You see that? And I think that's almost all the way up. So, and of course, every time you smooth something out sufficiently, it's going to have to recalculate it. So this part is the part that takes even longer. I'll probably be in sculpting with this dress for about, I'd want to say about a week. Probably, just to get it all perfect and perfectly form-fitted and adjusted the way that I want it. Then we move on to UV mapping, which is where we put our textures and all that kind of stuff in it. Then after that, we run through and finalize everything and make sure everything looks exactly how you want it to look. And then I will show you how, if you do end up downloading this asset, I'm probably going to make this one available for free. You know, just a little, here you go, something nice. I will show you how to add it to your avatars in VRChat so that once you have it, you can start using it right away. And, yeah. I'm going to be doing a number of freebie giveaways and things like that, and I'm going to include assets and sometimes complete custom avatars as membership perks to our Patreon. We will also be offering our custom clothing and commission work through our Patreon, as well as our Discord and all of our socials. So keep an eye out for that. Once I get this done, I'm going to start working on an actual custom avatar to show you guys a little bit more in depth how to do things like that and how those are built. Now keep in mind, guys, I'm not going to give away every single secret that I have. Some of this is to make money, and there are some trade secrets involved. So, however, a good 85-90% of my content will be given away for free. I really don't care. However, there will be some special video on demand and things like that, so that you guys can watch it and learn from it. And if you're a 3D artist, this will give you a little bit more, give you a little bit more insight if you're just starting out on what to look for, what to learn, as opposed to stuff you're really never ever going to use in your life. There's a lot of that, trust me. If you go to school, 90% of what you're going to learn, you're never going to use. But don't take my word for it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go to school. So do go to school, do get your degree, and do study for art or whatever you're doing. But be aware that sometimes, like schools may use a really weird off rendering package or something like that. So do keep that in mind. However, it's all pretty much the same methods, just different packages do the same thing in different ways. So that's the thing to remember. And this is probably going to look horrible because good thing I didn't save any of it yet. Like I said, I'll come back through here and in another video I'll show you, the end result of this stage. But we're not quite there yet. We still got a little bit more subdividing and things to do in modeling before we come to sculpting. So this is going to probably be about 2 more weeks left in this series before I start the next one, which will be a complete custom avatar from scratch. And I'll take you through the steps of doing that and kind of show you my process and things like that. Things I think you guys would enjoy seeing. And if you like these videos and streams, please don't hesitate to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know when I'm releasing another one or streaming again. And it'll really help us out. We've noticed a large uptick in viewership on our content, and we would like to thank everybody for that. So let's keep that going, guys. The more you guys like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, the more it helps us out with the algorithm, which seems to be everybody's adversary these days, is competing with that thing. So it really does help the channel out when you do that. So thank you very much for doing that when you do it. And as I said, please share this, like it, subscribe it, follow it, do all the social stuff for me, and I certainly appreciate all that. Okay, back to what we were doing. So I think, let's see. All right, we're back in, that's in the sculpting mode. Now you see the difference here. Because I did that, we'll go back into the animation. Now it starts with some of this pre-calculated already. Alright, sorry about that. Now, as I was saying, you'll notice some of this is already pre-calculated. But when we run it again from the beginning, and it takes a few more minutes, some of that pre-calculation should, oops, we're still in edit mode, that's not going to show you nothing. Alright, some of that pre-calculation will help. Sorry about that. And it's going to take a minute for it to rejigger with all the new pre-calculated stuff. So we'll watch as it does that. This process is probably going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to get us a few frames going. Maybe not. It might not take that long. But as you can see, it's already starting to take into account the pre-calculated smoothing. And like I said, I just wanted to show you that a little bit because the entire process takes days. To be honest with you guys, it's days of doing this over and over again until you get it how you like it, or how the customer or client would like it to be. So there's a lot of tedium in doing 3D modeling and that kind of thing. Just so you guys know, it's a lot of repetition. And yeah, right now I know it looks like she's got a whole bunch of jagged metal coming out of her, but that'll fix itself here in a minute. See, now we're starting to get it starting to curve around her now. See right here. These seams will come together. Not completely, because that's another thing I have to fix in sculpting. Or I might just leave them that way. I don't know. I think they look kind of nice like that, but alright. Now, as we start to come up on the frame that I actually did all that pre-calculation in, you'll notice it'll be a lot smoother after frame 11. Once we get to frame 11. It's already starting to smooth out some, as you can see. And it's actually starting to make the seams come together a little bit better too. Since I did that smoothing, you'll notice. So guys, this part right here is one of the reasons why there's other videos out there on modeling and sculpting and that kind of thing. But a lot of times, you know, people don't sit here and let the thing run through its render because, you know, and I get why. It's because you don't want a 4-hour long video just waiting for something to render and run out of things to talk about. So there are times like this where I'm going to do something that's going to take an awful long time that I'll just say, okay, this is the basic process. Then I'll cut the video off and let it render and do its thing, and then I'll show you the end result. Today we're not doing that because we're supposed to be streaming anyway, so we're going to stream part of our process here. Because, you know, I know you guys are probably curious. Guys, I'd like to remind you, you can catch us on Kick, and also, if you do miss all or part of our streams, we do upload them to YouTube Rumble, and they are on video on demand on our Kick channel. So, if you ever miss a stream, head on over to our YouTube or our Rumble or our Kick channels, and you should be able to catch it there. I try to do my best to upload all the episodes people may or may not have missed for you guys, because I know when we do interesting topics like this, people are going to want to see it. But as you can see, like I said, sometimes you'll run out of things to say before what you're trying to demonstrate is done. So we will try to keep that on the more briefer side of things as moving forward. But like I said, today I'm supposed to be streaming anyway, so it's all good. And as you can see, it's starting to solve for that cloth and smooth everything out. You'll notice the smoothing is a little bit better down here since we did a little bit of the smoothing in the sculpting. You see how it's starting to conform a little better and a little bit sooner. So that's what the sculpting is for. And technically I did that backwards. I should have accepted all that, the modifiers and such first, but that's okay. It will still apply it while we're rendering it, and if I were to save it, it would still apply all of everything that I have, the modifiers and everything. That's what I'm thinking about. And it looks like see, this is where sometimes it can become a problem. You notice our straps are missing? That's because they have folded down underneath in here because I smoothed it out a little too much. So now the shrink is pulling it off of her skin. So that's not quite what we want. No, Eve is updating. I'm sorry. They pulled a fast one on me. I had it all updated a day or two ago, and then they decided to release another update. Either that, or I just haven't been paying attention that long. Oh yeah, I forgot to change my category. I'm so sorry. I did forget about that. However, we are going over, guys. Apologies, there's boobs on the screen, but that's okay. I'll fix that here in a minute. Stop rendering. Do. Let me just stop this right quick, and then I'll change the category. Sorry, guys, didn't mean to fool you into watching the stream. I totally forgot to change the category. Okay. Whoop. There we go. Alright, guys. Back to safe. Anyway, like I said, that's a brief demonstration of what you do with the smoothing. And since we technically weren't ready for that, we're just going to go ahead and undo all that, because that wouldn't, you saw what it did to our fit. It made it improper. So every time you undo something like that, it has to recalculate it and all that stuff too. So that's why it's having an aneurysm, because now it has to subtract all of that smoothing that we just put in it. Okay, guys, while we're waiting for all this to come back off of the model, we will be right back. Actually, I'm probably just going to close it and restart it, so give me a minute here and we'll get everything back to where it was and we'll continue. Okay, and just like that, we're back where we started. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to play with a few things, continue refining uh, the dress and everything like that. You guys are welcome to watch and follow along. If there's something important I'm doing, I will highlight it. If you have a question or anything about what I'm doing, feel free to ask in the stream chat, and I will do my best to answer it for you. Like I said, if you like this video and what we're showing you and all that kind of stuff, please like, share, subscribe, follow, do all the social things for me. It does help out quite a bit with the algorithm and all that happy stuff. And I appreciate your support. So, all right, we're going to get into it here. And like I said, if I'm doing something important that I think needs highlighted, I will definitely chime in and comment on it and tell you what I'm doing. So, all right, guys, sit back, enjoy the music, and watch as we continue building this dress out. Guys, if you're just joining us on Kick or on Twitch, we are working on our dress here. We're making the finalizations in the modeling phase of this, and next we'll be doing the sculpting and finishing, which will include the UV mapping and the final little details, and then get it ready for prime time. And then we are going to release it to the public for free. So if you're a VRChat user, keep an eye out for that. It will be released as soon as it's done, or probably in about another week or so. We will have it up for download. So stand by for that. Anyway, we're gonna sit here while Blender does its work, and then we're gonna apply everything and then start on the sculpting phase. We just got to get it to the point to where we want it, and then make the applications, and then it'll be good from there. So right now Blender is figuring out the cloth simulation for all the points and vertices, as well as the polygons. As you saw a minute ago, this is a very highly subdivided item, but it's necessary to have it flow right. As you can see, the fabric, it behaves in just the same way it does in real life, so you have to take that into account when you're designing things like this. Make things a little bit oversized so they fit properly. You can always edit things out that don't look right or need a little bit of changing later. But anyway, we are going to let this continue, and I'll be back with everybody shortly. And there we go. You see it all starting to smooth out now. The trick is to keep it on her shoulders, because if you subdivide it too far and you don't have everything set up right, it'll clip right through her and then fall off of her, and that's not what we want. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of adjusting to do because it's starting to fall off of her now. Well, as you can see, like I said, it does take it a minute to stop calculating, but We are recalculating so that, I made those adjustments. And what I was saying that none of you heard is make sure you're at frame 1 when you make adjustments over here, or they won't take. And it helps if you actually push the play button. And if you're not at frame 1 when you do that, say you're at frame 100, it will apply everything there, but anything before that won't have that applied, and it'll mess up your simulation, and then you'll have to start over. So always make sure you're at frame 1 whenever you change values like that. Okay, back to waiting for it to render, guys. I think this might be the last, pretty close to the last pass we do in this phase, because it's getting pretty close to being how I want it. So, alright guys, here we go. Okay, we're going to have to turn the shrinking down just a touch, it looks like, and we're pretty much there. Okay, guys, to make the further demonstrations a little shorter, we're going to shorten this thing up so it doesn't have so much to calculate and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to fix some of the inverted polygons and all that kind of crazy stuff. So that's what we're doing right now. We're going to shorten it up so that I can, because at this rate, it's going to take me 3 weeks to show you everything I want to show you. So for the sake of brevity, I'm going to shorten the outfit. The original will be available, however, but we're going to use the shortened version for our demonstration from now on. So that should make things go a little quicker once I get everything all straightened back out again. So stay tuned, enjoy the music, and if you like what I'm doing and you like watching me do this, please don't forget to follow, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll know when I'm doing this kind of thing again and you can watch me. I appreciate all the support I've gotten so far. Keep it up, guys, and we will keep making these videos and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, guys, back to it.